am live. I think this has been like one of the longest days ever for me. Hanging in there. Thank you guys so much for joining. We're going to talk about a lot today. We've been, well, as I had time today, I was actually posting up stuff about the original Break the Trauma Bond in 7 steps. However, tonight we're going to talk about the actual decoder system, the narcissistic relationship decoder system. I'm going to try to do a little bit of education as well. I think that's always important that we always stay in touch with what we are basically dealing with. So hopefully everyone had a great day today. I'm sorry I missed the 2 o'clock live. It was uncontrollable. I couldn't I couldn't I couldn't figure out how to get time to get it done. But here we are right now getting the damn thing done. So we're gonna wait for some people to join or not wait for some people to join. But what we're definitely talking about today is the rewriting of reality. I think we do that way, way too much. And there's a price that we pay when we do that. When we rewrite our own reality, not only do we dismiss what we are actually feeling, what we're actually going through, uh, we kind of dismiss our own identity. Been talking about that a lot because that is the greatest depth that we experience when we're in narcissistic dynamics. While I was out and about today, strange. I was looking at other people's lives, and I mean, there is a lot going on out there. Hey, me be me. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'm trying to bring my energy level up. I have been running around all freaking day, um, trying to get stuff done. Trying to get stuff done for the Now movement. I think it's important that even though I'm beat as hell, I think it's important that we go ahead and continue to move forward and get this stuff done. I think the message that we give, is important. I truly feel that if we can get one empath set free, or at least getting a sense of balance so that they can go ahead and set themselves free, I think that's like a huge win for the world in general. I have this whole thing about empaths. I think we're the most important entities on this planet, and we just get the bad luck of having to deal with our evil twin. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, but I guess in the scheme of things, um, we've got to figure out a way to get through this. I think yesterday I put up module 0 or module 1 to the Break the Trauma Bond in 7 steps. I'm very, very proud of that course, what I did with it. And I'm not speaking too fast like I usually do. Hey, what's up, Nog Talks? Um, I appreciate you joining. I definitely appreciate you joining Nog Talks. Okay, so let's talk about the trauma bond. I think that's what I always talk about, the trauma bond. And we're going to make this, I want to get you guys what you guys are feeling as you're going through it. I think it helps me address the reality. If you feel that you are rewriting what you're experiencing, what kind of triggers you to do that? Um, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Noctos. I definitely appreciate you. What makes you feel that you need to do that when you rewrite reality? I'm talking about when the narcissist is raging out at you, or when they're ignoring you, or they're making sure that you don't feel seen. At what point do you pick up the mental pen and decide that, oh, let me make an excuse for them, or let me give them a free pass because of how their day might have been? I mean, there were times that I did that, and in hindsight, I look back and I'm like, what the hell was wrong with you? You know how you felt at that moment, and it seems like we almost automatically just take out a pen and just start rewriting what we literally experienced in real time, and it's crazy because in my notes I have that the emotional cost of staying stuck, actually rewriting reality, is that trauma bonds do not just affect emotions, they affect identity. And Nog Talk says childhood trauma. And thank you for adding that, because that is an important thing, because sometimes as empaths, we have gotten conditioned to do this. As an empath child, I think that many of us, we took on the role of regulating everybody else's emotions around us, because it kind of made us feel somewhat in control, as if, if we could monitor and actually control sometimes the emotions, and it's usually our caregivers. I always tell the story of the time when I used to just hear the key come into the door. When they were coming in, like I had come in from school, I'm sitting down, I'm doing my little crazy homework, or reading a comic book, or whatever a 4, 5, or 6 year old does. And then I would hear that key come in the door, and I think my radar would just kick in. I'm listening to how they're opening the door, how they're, if they say anything, what they're saying, what's their tone of voice. It was almost like a safety measure, but it felt, and this is, it felt like something that I had to do. And then my younger brother is 5 years behind me, and I remember, kind of doing it for him. Just kind of, he's sitting there, he's like little, when he's reaching, 3 and 4 years old, I'm like monitoring everything, because I knew, yes, Nog Talks, you're right. Rushing to pick up the house, clean up the house. Um, I was actually watching a video where someone literally broke this down, that when we're either the empath or the narcissist, we find ourselves like burdened with adult responsibilities. Remember, we're children. We are children, and it's like I was speaking to my daughter the other night, and I was like, I want you to enjoy your childhood. I want you to be a child for as long as humanly possible. Stop being so serious. And we get, as empaths and as narcissists, we get this insane workload as if we understand. And that hurts us, because we're looking at everybody else is enjoying their childhood. We're watching younger siblings. Sometimes we're cooking dinner. We're making sure everybody eats, everybody's fed, everybody gets their bath. And then we feel emotionally starved. Thank you for the lights. First thing mom did was a scan of the room instead of greeting us. Yes. You know, and I think that's the dividing line. The narcissists, they didn't like feeling that way, and they felt that somebody had to pay for this slight. And a lot of times, sometimes we do have narcissistic parents. Sometimes it is a generational thing. I know mine's a straight narcissist. They would gaslight me, I think, when I was 2 years old. So yeah, I get that part. But that sometimes, and just sometimes, it's just like, maybe it's a young parent, maybe they don't know what they're doing, maybe they don't know what's expected of them, maybe because they came from a narcissistic dynamic when they were growing up. But I say this because I want you to realize, you no longer have to do that. You don't. And now you found yourself that now you're, yes, Naruto says, yep, as the oldest, I can identify with that. See, the thing is, we tend to forget, once we made the choice, that nobody else is going through this. I'm sure most of us tell our kids, go ahead, grow up, enjoy your childhood, enjoy everything. She says, yes, I'm the oldest of five. I'm the oldest of three. Go ahead, enjoy your life. Do what kids do. I think me and my little brother, when he got older, on Saturdays and Sundays, we used to do this thing we nicknamed the Great Adventure. We would just, eat breakfast, whatever we had to do, clean up our room, and we would just, can we go out? and we would go out and, hey, me be me, thank you so much for the rose. We would just go out and explore our area, and we would go down blocks we've never been to. But it was kind of relaxing because I think deep down inside we knew we weren't in the house. The world was a different place. The world is always dangerous for children, but it was safer outside than it was inside. And I used to always take my brother along. I remember when she finally said, "Yeah, yeah, take your brother out. Go ahead, go, y'all go out there." And I remember I felt as if I was protecting him because I used to feel that if I left him in the house, he would be introduced to the chaos that I was escaping. And I think that built a huge bond within us. But that's the thing. That is the thing. And I'm just having a conversation. And thank you guys for chiming in. That's the thing. We became so used to this that as we get older, we become the target for the narcissist. Yes, yeah, we left and had to be home when street lights came on. Yeah, those were the good old days. No digital watches, no cell phones. But yeah, it's strange because we've gone from being children and saying to ourselves, even though I don't understand the world fully, it's safer out here than it is inside. And then we go through our life and then we get entangled with a narcissist and we literally have the same feeling for a myriad of different reasons, because you know that you're somewhat safer with the narcissist once you understand what they are, because they've got to protect their mask. You find yourself, you're someplace, you're out, you're doing something, you're at an event. People got to remind you, hey, listen, I don't care where you go, but it's over. You got to get out of here. Because deep down inside, you don't feel comfortable or emotionally safe anymore with your partner. And that again is something that's hard to deal with because deep down inside you feel this. You feel this at a very core level. That you start to understand as you start to see through their mask that, you know, if it's like an event or a party or a nightclub or hell, a casino, I really don't have to deal with them on the level of chaos that I have to deal with them when I'm behind closed doors. That's a sad feeling to have in a relationship. That you feel safer amongst strangers. You feel safer in what should be considered an unsafe environment. But this is what empaths carry through their lives. We're the ones, I don't know how many times when I was clubbing in New York, my early years, like from the age of 16 to like 23. That's when I would drop off my clothes and the cleaners pick them up Friday. And what club were we hitting? And we've always had those friends when we go out that we've always said they're like the live wire. We've got to calm them down. And we're not calming them down because we're scared, and we're not calming them down because, it's like we don't want anything to, happen, cops come or something like that. We calm them down because we want peace. And then after a while, you kind of leave that person alone. Now we can't hang out no more. Every time we go out, we in the middle of something. I can't. I remember like the times. It's usually the times that we end up back to back in the middle of a dance floor, trying to figure out how the hell we're going to get out of here before I decide we can't do this no more. Hey, you want to go hang out with him? Go hang out with him. I can't do this anymore. But we're always the ones that are trying to fix things. We're always the ones that are trying to help people see, hey, listen, we can have a good time. We can have fun. This doesn't have to be stressful. Because deep down inside, we dealt with chaos so much at an early age that we really don't like it. But then again, here comes this one to ruin the day, the narcissist, your supposed soulmate. And we're still doing the same thing. This is why we make excuses for them, because we're invested into this. We're emotionally invested into this person. We're emotionally invested into this relationship. It's just so hard for us to believe that This person that we viewed as being the one, it's really hard for us to grasp the fact that they don't think that way. And at our core, we know this. We know this. We know that we're not loved. We know that we're not respected. We know that our thoughts are not important to this person. We know this. But we're going to go in there and we're going to try. We figure the things that we did when we were little, when we were younger, when we were going through our teenage years, we still got that power. We can make people basically have common sense, see the reality of things while we're rewriting our own reality. We're going out there trying to fix something, and Knock Talk says fawning was my superpower. Hey, baby doll, thank you for joining. We have, and this is the curse of the empath. We want to see the good in everybody. Even though this person, again, let's go back just a little bit earlier, we really don't feel comfortable in the same room, much less the same house with them. We don't. That in itself is the trauma bond. The trauma bond is what forces you to rewrite what you're literally experiencing. Don't do it, but think about this. Put your hand over an open flame. No matter how much you don't want it to burn, guess what it's going to do? Because that's the reality. Drink something, eat something super spicy. There's this place, what's the name of it? Oh my God. There was this wing spot in New York, and they had this wing back then. It was called Suicide. Oh my God. Mouth would be on fire. I'm sitting just saying to myself, I'm like, it's got to find a way out, and capsaicin or whatever hot stuff is made of, it doesn't digest. It's, hot going in, hot coming out. But I had a friend, Asian guy, Will, that I worked with, and that was like our favorite thing. Every time they would come out with a hotter flavor, we would just go ahead. Oh, thank you so much, Miss Donna. I appreciate you. Baby doll says it's been 11 months. We're going to get to that. But let me tell you my crazy wing story. So every time they came out with a new flavor, me and Will had to order. We had to order them in for lunch. And we would sit inside of like the lounge. This is when I worked for a hospital for special surgery. We would sit in a lounge and we'd be like taking a little nibble. But we knew that it was hot. No matter how much we wanted to believe that it wasn't going to burn, we knew that it was going to burn. This is what we do with the narcissist. Baby doll says that it's been 11 months. And she says, I don't know how to go on. It feels that way. I think anybody that can attest to the fact that they're on their healing journey and that they are healing, they can attest to the fact that it's hard. It's hard, and I think that's why I've been. Naruto said, like eating wasabi, it makes you feel alive. Yeah, it does until it's got to find its way out. Definitely doesn't feel alive. But I think we all go through that. We don't know how we're going to get through this because we have this huge conflict going on in our mind. Okay, and let me break this down so that everybody can understand it. You love the person that really wasn't a person. They were an illusion. They needed to perfect that illusion to make you fall in love. They did. Then after that, they started treating you hot and cold, push-pull, intermittent reinforcement. Your nervous system, logically, something's wrong, but your nervous system is like, This is no different than anything else that we went through at an earlier age. And in fact, we might be able to fix this person due to what we experienced at an early age. So that's when we start literally, we pick up a pen, and when they rage out, we make an excuse for them. When they isolate us, we make an excuse for them. When they triangulate us, they make an excuse. We make an excuse for them. When we're trying to reach a goal to get a win, deep down inside, we know that they're sabotaging us or they're trying to erode our confidence. We write an excuse for them. That's why it feels hard, because intellectually, you are still fighting to keep that person as being the one, as being your soulmate, as someone important to your life. They're not important to your life. You're important to their life. You are literally, they can't exist without you. They can't regulate their emotions, so they need to trigger your emotions. They have no sense of empathy or kindness or compassion. So since they don't have it, they want to torture you for having it. I've said this so many times. The narcissist, just by the very definition of the disorder, they hate you. They hate everybody, but they especially hate you because of what you bring to the table. And what are you literally bringing to the table? Love and compassion, sticking in there for the fight. And you confuse this with an intense relationship. That's not intensity. That's selling your soul down the river. That's selling your very identity down the river. Because when we look at that relationship, did you get that back? Let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. Let's be completely honest here. Did you get that back? See, that's the lens of reality that kind of made me stop trying. Because I'm like, I'm not getting any of this back. I'm not. And you know what the strange thing is? And guys, just go ahead and send me a message that says today is the day, which will actually, I'm going to actually send you um, a cheat sheet to help you figure out if you are indeed a child bond completely free. If you want to get my courses, just put it in the questions. I don't care. But this sheet is definitely free to help you figure out if you are in a trauma bond and where you're rewriting reality. Naruto says, thank you for the follow, Sally. I appreciate you. Triangulation with your friends is the ultimate betrayal. Yes. Again, my narcissist is my brother. Wherever power can be gained, narcissists will hide in plain sight. I can't say it any differently. You know. What happens is we find that, and like I've been saying for the last, I think almost for a week, we were never prepared for this. Honestly, we weren't. Nothing on this planet could have prepared us for what we were going to go through with the narcissist. Just by the difference in our natures, the narcissist is evil, the narcissist is cruel and calculating. We want to run down the street and sing kumbaya and join marches for the good of mankind and stuff like that. So we weren't prepared for it. The narcissist, on the other hand, has been practicing this their whole life. Hey, what's up, Shay? They've been practicing most of their life. Once they decided somebody's got to pay because of the way that I was treated as a child, they've been practicing manipulation, lying to people, gaslighting people, hurting people. And then one day, they met an empath. And that changed everything. That made them sharpen their game because the empath, I think, Narcissistic said the caviar, the caviar of human beings to the narcissist. That's literally what we are. The reason being is we're going to keep on trying. Even though it's in plain sight that this person can't be fixed, this person doesn't want to be fixed, and this person is dead set on destroying me. Even though we see that, guess what we're going to do? We're going to keep on trying. I don't blame you for that. But there has to be that moment in time where you take the pen and you put it down. And you say, I'm no longer going to rewrite my reality. I'm no longer going to rewrite what I feel. Baby doll said, he's killed my heart and soul. I don't want to keep trying. Well, that's to begin. That's the first step. Instead of saying, I don't want to keep trying, I'm not going to keep trying. I'm not. See, sometimes small words make a hell of a difference. Sometimes just changing one word and swapping it out for another actually does something to our minds, and we decide that, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. Not that I don't want to, because you're kind of leaving the back door. That's what I mean by rewriting reality. Because if you say, I don't want to, you can come back and say, but I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not doing this anymore. It's kind of fine. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to hold myself accountable to the fact that I'm not doing this anymore. And Shay says, because of what I went through with it's very hard for me to get, I can't say the word that you put there. Thank you, Danielle Oles, for the love you so much. I appreciate you. It's hard for me to trust any man again. It's hard to trust people again, much less yourself. As a person that has gone through this, it took me a long time to trust myself. Okay, and that's kind of important. Again, the narcissist erodes at your identity. They erode at the person that you are because they hate that person. And then trusting others, that's a whole different bag of worms. Because, and I've told this story a lot, it's not so much a story, it's the truth. I was hyper vigilant. I trusted no one whatsoever. If I even got an inkling of a whiff of a sniff that you had a toxic or a narcissistic trait, I had nothing else to say to you. I did. I was pushing people away like old garbage. Like, I don't want to deal with you because you might be a narcissist. I just got it. I can't take that chance anymore. And it's kind of done on purpose. Everything that you're feeling was calculated and done on purpose. Again, you weren't prepared for this, but this demon has been practicing this for decades. Okay, for decades. And Shay, you are correct. She says life is short. If you're not feeling valued and stay hurting, leave. But you've got to make a choice. See, that's why I do this. And Naruto says he left and took her friend with him. That is pure evil. Yeah. I mean, after what we go through for the narcissist, who can vote that it doesn't hinge on being demonic? I say this all of the time. You did nothing wrong, but actually love a person that was incapable of returning one iota of that back because they don't understand what love is. Their heart, their very heart is seething with hate. One of the criterion, I think it's criterion number 8 in the DSM-5, they are jealous of everyone and they believe that everyone is jealous of them. This is literally how they go through their life. Thank you for the follow, Shay. This is literally how they go through their life. Everybody's against them, so therefore they have to be against everybody else. I've been involved with 3 narcissists, and I could see the it didn't matter if it was family, friends, or whatever. Somebody always, in their mind, somebody always had a plot against them, and you know what? They had to beat them to the punch. That's a demon. Even the most dysfunctional person will take a moment to, as they say, smell the flowers, enjoy their life. The narcissist will never enjoy their life. They are stuck in a cycle. The cycle that is no different than a cycle that a mosquito follows. The cycle that is no different than what a tick follows. The cycle that is no different than what a flea follows. Or if we take it to the next level, a virus follows. That is their lot in life. This disorder is something that, and again, I've been saying this for the last few days because as I'm researching stuff, because I'm always reading about this, it's not so much to make sense of it anymore because The more you try to make sense of it, the more nonsensical it becomes. But it is to be able to understand and transfer information to the people that come into these lives, the people that watch my little videos that I put up. To be able to give relevant and useful information to help my fellow empaths get out of this. I know someone who is a master of manipulation and showing me what a true narcissist is. Well, yeah, that's what they do. And choosing me always, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I don't know what just happened. Um, yeah, so you don't have to ask. And guys, you can. I don't know who I sent an invitation to, but it's probably not happening. But guys, put it in the comments. I really want you to put it in the comments. Um, what do you feel is keeping you stuck? And think about that for a second. And I want you to be honest with yourself. Still today, they believe I'm still stupid. Yeah, let them. It doesn't matter, Shay. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Narcissists themselves, I don't care. They could have degrees from every university on this planet. They are so impulsive because they feel that they're entitled and they think they're basically omnipotent, so they can do whatever they want. So I have found that most narcissists don't think things through clearly. This is part of the reason why they know this. They know this is a weak point for them, but that's why in the relationship they try to keep you what I like to call on tilt, in a constant state of confusion. Okay, they need to do that because they got to keep that mask up as long as possible. They're still trying to milk you supply. It's like they say that mosquitoes, before they land on you and draw blood, the first thing they do is they push a freaking anesthetic into you so that you don't feel them right away. That's what the narcissist is doing. They're trying to. That's what the push pull is about. You're starting to see through them. You're starting to see what they are. All of a sudden, as I always say, they'll come up out the blue and give you a hug. They become masters of learning how to control your dopamine levels. To make you literally addicted to them. And this is not me talking. This is research. This is studies. This is the poor bastard narcissist that some mental health professional got a hold of and put them through their paces. Like, oh, that's why they act like that. you know Once a person knows what you accept, it gets worse. Yes, Shay, it does. But you know what, it'll never get better with the narcissist. This is why I tell empaths that they need to heal, and they need to literally let go of the ghost. Because we find, they say in any abusive relationship, and this includes TV, any abusive relationship, the victim goes back an average of 7 times. So that literally means that they got free the first time. You think they would run for the hills, jump on the plane, find a jet, get on the ship, and go as far away as possible. But no, because it's the same principle. All abusive relationships, the main goal is control. That's always the main control. I mean, the main system is control of their victim. Okay, and how they gain that control is it's almost like the whole Stockholm thing. They make the victim feel as if they need this person to survive, and they do this by the dopamine cortisol regulation. What that's intermittent reinforcement is, you're going to have a good time, you're going to have hope, you're going to feel better, you're going to think things are working out, and then all of a sudden they're going to pull the rug from up under you, and you're going to be sitting on the floor saying, what the hell just happened? But instead of leaving them, then what's going to happen is, after going through this cycle over and over again, you become the person that just waits for them to come back around. It's literally an addiction. And when you're in a trauma bond, it's literally withdrawal. I think that's the easiest way that I can explain it. Tiffany, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. We have to, because there's a huge cost to yourself when you stay stuck. Not only emotional chaos, and this is why you have to get out of the trauma bond. This is why it's so important. And I'm not talking about, you can't half step this. You can't. you know, because you were conditioned. I'm going to say at the minimum, if you would be considered main supply, you were with them for a minimum of 2 years. Okay, they moved their stuff in, they were part of your life because this was your soulmate. Um, so any place from two, I think I've seen in these lives where people say, I think the highest I saw was 30 years. That's 2 to 30 years of abuse, mental, psychological abuse. And never get it twisted, done on purpose. They expect a certain result. And that result is you literally become a goldfish. You just sit around and wait for the next time that they give you a hug, the next time you have a conversation you think to be meaningful. You keep on. This is why phase one, the love bombing stage, is so important to them because they need to get you hooked. Because even you have to admit this in your own mind, you're not looking at how they treated you last week. You're not looking how they treated you last month. You're looking at how they treated you in the beginning. That's why it's so important. See, the narcissist knows that you will always revert back to the beginning. That's when they put in the work. That's when they mirror you. That's when they make you feel like you're being seen. You're literally falling in love with yourself. They're just taking the parts. Again, they've been practicing this for years. They've been perfecting this. They know how to make you feel seen and make you think it's them that's seeing you when in all reality it's you seeing yourself. Every narcissistic dynamic that I've been in, when I look back, it was literally an illusion. I think that's how I deal with it, and I don't like to talk to people as if it should be, it comes that easy because it doesn't. But once you heal, you start looking at those interactions and you start thinking about those conversations and you start saying to yourself, everything I told them at some point, especially if it had to do with my fears or my dreams or my failures, they would throw back at me. And I had nothing to throw back because I didn't know this person. In all three of those relationships, I literally felt like I grew up in the projects in Edgemont houses in Rockaway or Auburn. And so, as kids growing up, you have all these different friends. Some of them you know their name, some of you know their nickname, some of them you hang out in their house and play with them and read comic books or whatever you do. So some of those people, I knew, but I didn't know them. I really didn't. I knew surface level. I knew what apartment they lived in, or sometimes even what floor they lived on. I knew what school they went to. But to know them, I didn't really know them. They were cool. Some of them actually did become my day ones, as I got to know them a little bit more. But for the most part, you don't know the people you grow up with. You recognize their face. Hey, what? I don't remember your name. Hey, what's up? How you doing today? We're gonna play today, right? I'm gonna meet you over the park. We're gonna play paddleball, right? So yeah, that's how you felt with the narcissist. That's how you feel with the narcissist. When you think about it, you really don't know anything about them. Yeah, you know a couple of victim stories, but that's kind of important that you know those victim stories because it puts you in savior mode. It tugs at the empath strings in you. You want to help this person. Oh my God, they tell you these stories. I mean, you're sitting up there watching Saturday Night Live, laughing your ass off, and then before you know it, you're crying because they're telling you how this person did them wrong, and this family member did them wrong, and this person did this to them. And you don't know about that they still got somebody in their life yet. That comes a little bit later. See, I can tell you exactly how it plays out. So usually the first time you say, listen, stay here. Oh no, I think I should have told you. I'm involved with someone else, but it's almost over. And then here comes another victim story. It's cold, it's calculating, and it's done on purpose. Janice, thank you for joining. Let me read what she says. Um, Janice says, "How come we didn't hear about narcissistic behavior till the last couple of years? I don't know. It's actually existed. A lot of the names, Janice, and thank you for putting that there. A lot of the names like hoovering and gaslighting and stuff like that and flying monkeys, those are new things. Believe it or not, Carl Jung actually spoke about narcissism in his own way. Um, it's been around. I've read studies from like the 50s and the 60s. Um, but they hide in plain sight. They're the ones, a narcissist will call their partner a narcissist and leave their partner sitting up there befuddled saying, am I a narcissist? Are they right? Am I a narcissist? Well, you're reflecting right now. You're trying to think about it. So, no, you're not a narcissist. Okay. So, narcissists hide in plain sight. They hide in religious institutions. As we know, they hide in families. They hide at the workplace. They hide in schools. Any place where power can be held. Um, and the mask, if you understand the narcissistic personality disorder, the mask, the false self that they've created is always the most important thing. So I can see a bunch of demons protecting themselves. I can see them trying to keep this undercover, but here's something that happened. The internet. Then something even better happened. Social media. And there were a few brave souls because I'm going to tell you, years ago, before this became a subject that people literally talked about, years ago, empaths would just go crawl off and disappear because nobody believed them. Who would that? Oh, come on. He or she did that? I can't believe that. I think you're overreacting. The same ish that you heard through the relationship. I think you're being too sensitive. So they would shut up and say nothing. But here comes the interwebs. Now we have a forum. Now we can talk about this. And now, with the information that's out there, and there is a ton of information out there, all you need to do is actively say, I'm not doing this anymore, and go look for the information. You know. So yeah, so that's why it seems like it just came out all over the place, and that's why we're here now. I'm here because it's part of my movement. Like I said, I've been through this 3 times. Um, the third one was demons, the devil's stepchild, I guess. But it made me more resilient. It made me understand that yes, I do have a purpose, and it made me understand myself. So since I have a nonprofit in Jersey, okay, it's Church of Real Talk. It's a registered nonprofit in Jersey. The Now movement fits under that umbrella. And the Now movement, if you don't know, the first time joining, is no other way but forward. Because that's the mindset that we have to have. Instead of picking up and saying they had a hard day at work, or that thing that they really needed from the supermarket wasn't there, that's why they're raging out at me. Instead of doing that, you have to just say there's no other way but forward. Because if you keep on, what happens is as people go through narcissistic abuse, not only are they waiting for the dopamine rush from them putting the rug back under you, giving you that hug, making you feel seen. Not only are you waiting for that rush, you're slowly chipping away at your own identity. A lot of the things that we go through is self-inflicted to a certain sense, and that's why it's important that you heal. Because once you understand why you accepted it, once you understand the things that may be broken inside of you, may need to be fixed, and we all have them. Once you begin to understand that, the payload that you get is that you'll never go through it again, but you got to heal. And there's no shortcuts to it. You've got to go through, you've got to take the journey. And you've got to take the journey by taking the first step. You can't just, say, okay, I'm just gonna take 2 steps and call it a day. That should be enough. No, you have to go through the whole gamut. Yep, they will be watered down like it wasn't that bad. Yeah. Yep. Hey, no, Saint man, I didn't even see you. What's going on? Thank you for joining. And what happens is, and just to circle back to that, why are we just hearing about it now is because it's like the name, the Narc Nightmare. We are literally, that's where the empath in us starts to come out. We're becoming the narcissist nightmare. We are becoming their nightmare because at the end of the day, all they have is their fractured identity and their mask. And once the mask is gone, like I said, they thank you, Tiffany Van Zant, for following me. I appreciate you. Once the mask is gone, they literally have nothing. They literally have to go to the docks, get on a steamer, then get on a plane, then get a paddle boat, go to another island, and start rebuilding their mask. Because that's all that's important to them. You're not important to them. Nothing is important to them. They're masks. How everyone, except the person that loves them or the people that love them, how everyone else views them. That's what's important. They're the literal life of the party, and the party could be just going to the store. You know. And what's crazy is people who are behind. It's the ones that hurt them or really don't be loyal. I think you're talking about the flying monkey dynamic. There's a lot of manipulation going. That rabbit hole goes a lot deeper. There's manipulation. There is trade-offs for access. Use your imagination. You know, depending on how important it is for them to, you know, especially during the smear campaign. You know, they'll trade that off. You know, if they feel that they have a powerful enough person to bring the impact down. You have to remember this should show you how truly weak the narcissist is. Okay? That sense of bravado and confidence that they gave you in a relationship does not exist. Okay? And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you're in the midst of the smear campaign, it's not their bestie going along for the ride with them. They are actively recruiting as many people as they can. Always remember that. See, this is how strong you are. And this is why you need to get back to being yourself. Let me put up this post because somebody's probably going to decide, you know what, today is the day. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to waste this and go ahead and get this freaking course. You know, yeah, you have to. And if you want to go deeper, this is basically, I'm going to say the initial level, the decoder system. Oh, the decoder system, that's it right there. That is it right there. The decoder thing, I mean, these are video modules. You can take them at your own pace. You can do what you need to do. And again, just send me a message that says today is the day, and I will send you free resources. I will. You know, I will send you literally free resources because if you, let's just say that, you know, the 19 is not working for you right now. I get that. I'm a real person too. You know, just write me an email or send me a message and say today's the day, and I will definitely send you free resources to help you get through this. It's not so much. I have a nonprofit, so I've got to keep that afloat. But at the same time, I'm never going to gatekeep resources. I'm not. You know. So this is how important you truly are, you know, and this is what you need to remember. Okay, you have to remember because, and I ask this question often when I do lives. If you can just get through the fog and remember the person that you were the day before you met the narcissist, how did you feel about your life? And then how do you feel about your life with the narcissist? There's going to be a stark difference. I don't even have to know you. I'm going to tell you there's going to be a stark difference because you've allowed someone to erode your identity. See, the narcissists hate you. They hate the person that you are. And again, fragmented identity, they want to take little bits and pieces out of you and put it in their head. You know, so they basically want to destroy you and walk away with what they visualize to be the best parts of you. I mean, I've been on these lives where people will say, you know, I ran into the new supply and the new said they got the new supply talking like me, you know, and if I say something to them about like that's my phrase. No, it's not. It's his or her phrase. That's what they say all the time. That's what the narcissist does. There's nothing there. There's no substance there. There has never been any substance there. Thank you, Create Sunshine 27 for the follow. While saying that they love you, that's all the illusion. I put up a video clip from the live last night where it's like it's Friday night. You know, you're going to a movie, you look at the marquee and you say, oh, it's been a long time since I've seen a romantic comedy, or it's been a long time since I see a love story. And you go in and go to the person, you buy your ticket, stop off, get some popcorn. You're sitting down in those little comfy seats that kind of go back and forth, and you're watching the movie. And then all of a sudden, you see Jason on the screen. And then Jason is running down people with his little Jason instrument. You know, you're like, wait a second, you're looking at your ticket and you're saying, but I wanted to see a romantic comedy. Why am I watching this horror story? And then you're really thinking about it. You're saying to yourself, you're like, they didn't show any credits. I know for a fact this isn't a double feature. I'm not in the drive-through. And you are sitting up there trying to figure this whole thing out. That's the narcissistic relationship. The beginning, the love bombing stage, that is the ticket that you're holding in your hand. You're sitting saying, oh my God, this is going to be perfect. I found the one. They think like me. They have the same likes that I do. They're goal orientated like I am. Oh my God. Forever. Forever. How did I get so lucky? And then after the love bombing stage, you start hearing little strains of like scary music coming through the house. You know, you open the door, you hear do 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 do. What the hell is that? And you ignore it. You ignore it. That's right, Create Sunshine 27, they're mastering in their place. You ignore it. You say it can't be anything. Then you look at your partner and you're like, hey, glad you're still here. I am so happy that you're here. And they're looking at you like this. Because the love bombing stage is over. Now they need to dig in, 10 toes in, and destroy you. So every time you come back in the house, that ominous music is getting louder, and you just can't figure out how or why. And when you hear the music, they're just sitting in a chair or in the bed, just staring at you. So we just rewrite reality. We just decide that we can fix this. We just decide that we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. We just decide, very important, we just decide that saving this relationship is more important than saving ourselves. At the end of the day, that's what you did. You decided, and I'm not. Don't take it that sometimes I deliver like that, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I understand because I went through it. I'm not sitting up there talking above anybody. I knew when I first. I mean, building the now movement helped me understand what I was going through. I guess you could say I was double fisting it. You know, I'm understanding what I'm experiencing now that I'm free. Now that I don't have to see this person every day. You know, now I'm experiencing peace that is driving me. That is crazy. When deep down inside, while I was in that relationship, all I wanted was peace. But the narcissist is a fire drill every freaking day. As soon as they open up their eyes, they're going to find a way to create a fire drill. Create Sunshine 27, 35 years for me. Trauma bond was part of it. It's a complete part of it. Thank you for bringing that up. You're going to go through it. There is no way. If you have come to the conclusion that the person that you were involved in for any place from 2 to, as Create Sunshine says, 35 years, and you're locked on. This is a narcissist. You got the DSM-5. You're checking off boxes. You sent me a direct message saying, you know, today's the day. I sent you the sheet that's going to help you figure out if you're on the trauma line. You're like, oh my God. Oh my freaking God. How did I get here? You're going to go through the trauma. I can't tell you how long it's going to take. Some people, It takes a little while. Some people it takes a super long time. It all depends on, and this is the defining factor of breaking free of the trauma bond. You have to let go of the fact that any of it was real. Believe it or not, no other way. Because as long as you hold on to that little sliver of this was real on January 3rd, 19 whatever, or 20 whatever, this felt real. As long as you hold on to that, you're going to stop. You're going to literally stop, maybe even pause your healing journey. It's called radical acceptance. Dr. Ramani talks about it all the time. You have to accept. And I want to hold your hand, because sometimes I wish that somebody would have held my hand, because that was the biggest battle. Everything became somewhat easier after that, but I had to admit to myself, I had to look at the facts. Part of what in this course is exercises, and these exercises are actually built around many of the things that I had to do to come to the realization that this whole thing was fake. And Miss Lady 6970, thank you for joining. He doesn't even like me, much less like me. Well, they, if you're an empath, your light doesn't irritate them, it frustrates them. Your light frustrates them. Okay? Because they know deep down. So, like I said, a narcissist always knows what they're doing to you. Yes, create sunshine. Thank you. You just beat me to the punch. They're not capable of loving anyone with a capital anyone. There is no one. If you look at your dynamic, and again, you signed off on the fact that it's a narcissist. At what point did they show that they had love for anyone? I mean, literally anyone. The way my grandparents, the way I tell you can tell, I love the hell out of them. I do. I love it. Anytime I speak about my grandparents, I love the hell out of them. And anybody that's listening can feel that. Who does the narcissist love? Think about that for a second. Who do they love? They love the mask. And they don't even love that. It's just something that they must do. Nobody believes my story, but I told people anyway, finally, after 20 years. No, because again, nobody is prepared for this. And I'm not coming at you, but this is the reality. When you tell people, oh, my narcissist, one day they raged out at me and told me that I wasn't worthy and they've been seeing somebody else the whole time and this, that, and the other. And you tell people, it's like, I can't believe this person just said all of this to me, or you're not worthy, or this, that, and the other. I had mine tell me that they was going to take my kids to go see another man. Literally. So when you look at things like that, I'm sorry, like I said, hitting on people random. Okay. When you're telling people stuff like that, you have to remember they present themselves differently than to everybody else. They spend their whole life. The person inside the house with you is a completely person outside the house, especially if you're not around. So what's going to happen is when you decide to finally speak up, when you decide that you're really not crazy and you really did experience this, when you start telling people what you experienced, people are going, the first thing they're going to say, oh, I can't believe that. I think you're exaggerating. No, why would they do that? I know them. They're a nice person. It's all done on purpose. Like I said, we're not prepared for this. They have been doing this their whole freaking life. We are not prepared for this. Sometimes the smear campaign starts right after the love bombing stage. Because depending on how strong an empath you are, they're not trying to protect you. They're trying to protect that mask. They think you're lying or smearing the narcissist. Yes, yes. Luckily, I got a ton full of recordings, but but that's only if I end up in court for something. But that's the thing. While the narcissist is out there actively smearing your name, you're being met with disbelief. So yeah, again, do you not think this is done on purpose? Because there can't be that many coincidental chain of events how this person is acting. They're doing this on purpose. They are literally showing you to your face that they want to hurt you. So yeah, you have to let go of the ghost. I think that last time that I had that blowout with them, I was like, you know what? Today is the day. I can't do this anymore. Oh, they came back a half an hour, got that recorded too with the half-ass apology. I'm sorry I said that, but no, you said it. We always, I think Wante always says this. Sometimes we have to hit rock bottom. We have to lose so much of our self-art, so much of our inner peace, so much of our identity before we just say, you know what, today's the day. I'm not doing this no more. You can do this ish by yourself. I'm not doing this anymore. And then you got to remember, here's the thing. See, they kind of sense when you're seeing through their mask. So now comes the fun part. You gotta keep quiet. Because again, they've been doing this for years. They know how most people act. So when people find out, what's the first thing you want? You want payback, don't you? So now you're going to sit there and tell them all your plans. You want to tell, you know what? You're going to pay for the way that you treated me, and you're going to see, and karma's going to get you, and I'm moving, and I'm getting the hell out of here. That's the worst thing you can do. You're giving them a reaction. They have fed tremendously off of your reactions the whole time you've been with them. All you did was actually give them another plate of food. That's all you did. Hold on, here comes the puzzle. That's all you did. I keep on trying to tell people, revenge does not work on people that cannot reflect and do not have empathy. All you're doing is giving them another emotion and they're happy. Oh, you want revenge on me? That's how they look at it. You can't get revenge on a narcissist. What are you showing them that they did wrong? They feel entitled to everything that they do. What are you making them feel bad about that they hurt you? They meant to hurt you. So keep your mouth shut, make your plans, and get the hell out. Miss Lady says, okay, JT, let me catch up with her. Yeah, create sunshine. Don't tell them nothing, JT. You have to go completely no contact whenever possible. I actually have a course because there's a difference between no contact and controlled access. Miss Lady 6970 says, well, he can see me back in my thing, so it's hard to hide. Yeah, that would be a little hard to hide. But yeah. But you get the point. You could be putting stuff in storage. You could be reclaiming room for all they know. But you have to remember that everything that they did to you, they did on purpose. Stop trying to figure out ways to excuse them for their behavior. I mean, we all have seen The Exorcist or a flavor of The Exorcist. The priest never comes in and says, you know what, before we start this whole thing, I just want to forgive you for the way that you've been treating this person. You got them flying up on the wall and speaking tongues and stuff. I just want to give you a pass on that before we start and give you another chance. If you do want to leave this vessel of God, we don't have to go through the reading and the thumping and the power of Christ compels you. We don't have to do any of that. We don't. That usually doesn't happen. It usually doesn't happen. But that's actually the same thing that you're kind of doing. Not to, go against anybody's religion. I'm not making light of anybody's religion, but that's exactly what you're doing with the narcissist. You're coming in. You get to the point where you're copping pleas. Deep down inside they're not going to get better. But the thing is, you're copping pleas for what? The person that you saw in the beginning. Which by this point, if you're doing a whole lot of plea copping, by this point, you deep down inside know that that was all an act. You know that was a facade. You know that was fake. But again, that's the empath's curse. We just keep on freaking trying. We're like the freaking Energizer Bunny with that, you know. And then speaking of the no contact that somebody brought in, and guys, like I said, I put this up in case somebody needs it. However, I'm going to tell you, if you just send me a direct message that says today is the day, I will send you free resources. Okay, I got a movement. It's got to be funded. It's got to be funded, and this is how I got through what the kids call the crazy work, and that's what the trial bond is, the crazy work. I think we had somebody on last night that was talking about rumination, thinking about the narcissist. You're free. You're in a shelter. You're in a hotel. You're at a friend's house. You're at a family member's house. You're at your new own house, and out the blue, you've been doing good. Out the blue, here comes the thought of this person in your brain, and it just hits your nervous system with like this. Oh God, why me? Why? Why? Now you're looking at your phone. Now you're looking at text messages that they sent before. Now you're playing back recordings if you're like me. So it's almost like they know and they come back. Do you know that they've literally planted a back door so that they can come back into your life? That back door is you'll never get closure for the relationship. You'll never get closure. They'll monkey branch. They'll go to the new supply. They'll do anything but give you closure. That's done on purpose because they know how human beings think. This MFer is going to want some kind of closure. Yeah, I got him. And it drives us crazy, especially as empaths. It drives us crazy because we want to reach out. Then we're doing stupid stuff like going on their social media, putting messages, hey, listen, you need to contact me so we can talk. All they're doing is for everybody that's around them, see, they're unstable. See, they're obsessed over me. Let them go on with the new supply. That's confusion within itself. Within itself, it's like, we've been away from each other for 48 hours and you sleeping with somebody else already? How much did you really love me? They don't grieve the relationship. Like I said, 2 to 35 years, it doesn't matter. Why would you think that there's no normal human being that does that? No normal human being. A person with a disorder? Yes. A normal human being, if you spent years in a relationship, at some point you're going to grieve the loss of that relationship. To what extent is completely up to you and the dynamic within that relationship. But you're going to grieve it. You're going to spend some time grieving it. I don't care how much your girlfriends call you up and tell you to go out. I don't care how much your peoples call you up and say, come on, dude, let's go out for drinks. Let's go hit the club. Let's get your mind off of this. There's going to be a time period, because if you value that relationship at any point, you're going to grieve it. 24 to 48 hours for the narcissist before they start monkey branching. They don't do it for the same reasons that normal human beings do it. They need validation. They have found throughout their life, this is the easiest way to get validation. So never take it personal. Let them and the new supply go off into the sunset. Because the new supply thinks that they beat you. They think that they won the relationship golden ticket. But you already know how this turns out, don't you? So don't worry about them. Let them go ahead. And I think I talked about this the other night. 99.9% of the time, you're the glue that holds their dysfunctional relationship together, because they spend more time talking about you than talking about themselves. The new supply creeps your pages and your social medias as much as they do. See how I told you how important you are? See how I told you why the narcissist felt it necessary to break you? Hold on one second. I so grieve. Miss Lady 6970 says, I already grieved this marriage. Almost had a nervous breakdown 2 years ago. Just anxious to get away from it. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. We still grieve. And you know what I'm going to tell you? I used to run this workshop called Healing Through Peaceful Choices. It's all right. Even if you can accept that it was all fake, you're still allowed to grieve it because your love is never dependent on someone else. What's inside? Love is the most powerful word in this reality. It's something that we seek out, except for the narcissist. It's something that we treasure, except for the narcissist. It's something that we always want to build upon, except for the narcissist. Love is the most powerful freaking word. So, what you felt for the narcissist, even though it's a facade, you felt. That was real. People can be in here all night talking about, but I loved them. I would have given everything to them. I would have did this for them. I loved them. I really loved them. My heart was there for them, this, that, and the other. That's cool. That's fine and dandy. That's how you felt. And I'm never going to take that away from you. Keep that because that shows me, that shows the other empaths in the world that you're a good person. But your love has nothing to do with the demon. You can detach from the demon and just keep it moving. You can literally detach from the demon and keep it moving without blaming yourself because that's what we do a lot of times. We kick ourselves in the butt, we kick ourselves in the head because once we get close to admitting that it was all fake, we say, how did I fall for this? How did I fall for this? Most empaths are intelligent people. They are very intelligent, been thinking their way through ish most of their life. But for some strange reason, you didn't see this coming because you weren't prepared for it. What prepared you? What prepared you for a entity that at their core level is just nothing but seething hate? What prepared you for that? What book did you read? Hey, Rocksteady, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. You know, and not thank me. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It is true. You know. Tell me the book. Tell me the study session that you went to. Tell me the college course. Tell me, you know, when you what did they call it in high school when I was in there? Living something, you know. I don't know what the hell it's called. You know, life skills, whatever. You know, what did they teach you in life skills about the narcissist? They People learn everything else in this world, how to be successful in business, how to write a book, how I learned how to do photography. You know, there's always a guide for something wherever you look. But growing up, there was no guide for just in case you run into a narcissist, this is what you need to know. Nothing. Nothing. This lady says, I had no idea I was marrying a narco cheater. You know, I married one of mine, was about to marry the last one. You know, I had no clue. I had no clue until the end, the reverse discard. You know, that's when I started hearing stuff like, you're not really my man, and this, that, and the other. And I was like, okay, cool. I know you're a demon already, so that doesn't bother me. You know, so yeah, we don't know because we're not prepared for it. And JT says, my narc totally abandoned the marriage and two little girls. What woman does that and doesn't pay CS? Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. It really is crazy because they don't care. It's the mask. That's all the house could be burning down and it could be children, loved ones, and pets in there. They running back for the mask. That's it. That's all they're running back for. And the North Nightmare says, I ran into a dark empath. Oh, that must have been fun. That must have been a whole lot of fun. The mirror image of the narcissist, because they actually understand that they're causing pain and they have empathy. It's crazy. I think we're going to go into the different types of empaths. Maybe for Forget the Narcissist Friday. I think Carl Jung had a lot to say about it, and yet still in all of his works and books and papers, he never said the word narcissist at all, not once. You know. But yeah, they should go have to do time for what they do. They should. They should. I think the easiest way to get rid of a narcissist is basically, I think if you gave them a week of solitary confinement, they would fall apart. No supply. No supply. I mean, honestly, no supply whatsoever. I think that would put an end to it. But I think we as empaths, knowing that the evil does exist, that's the hardest part, is realizing that yes, JT, you're correct. That and gambling. Any Anything to, I guess, deal with their disorder. So yeah, I mean, and they don't care because narcissists get bored very quickly. That's why they monkey branch. That's why they have to have multiple sources of supply. In their brain, they get bored. So it's like, and then it jumps right back up to that entitlement thing. JT says never have a job. Yeah, any kind of dopamine hit. And the narcissist nightmare says it's because they had empathy enough to seem genuine. Well, yeah, that is the dark empath at their core. That's if they become more of a malignant dark empath. I think they follow almost the same patterns that people with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, have. I just wish people would stop treating them like superheroes. And I get it. You've gone through something, and they are pretty good at making narcissists go through mortification. But it's literally becoming the monster to destroy the monster. If that makes sense. Because I see a lot of posts. I am a dark empath. I'm like, why would you brag about that, Missy? What's wrong with you? You're just like a little bit above the narcissist because you actually understand what you're doing and have empathy about it. So yeah, I think I will do that maybe for Forget the Narcissist Friday. Um, yeah, so guys, I mean, it is a good time for you guys to ask questions. You don't have to get your answers via course. And like I said, I have stuff that goes through levels. Because there's levels to this issue. There's levels to this healing thing. So I do have stuff to help you figure wherever you're at. And I have a lot of free stuff. I really do. Um, you just have to ask. No, most importantly, you just got to decide that, you're done. You're done, because the narcissist is not going to say, they're not going to come into the room and say, you know what, I've been treating you like crap for the last up to you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, do what you got to do. I'm sorry. You can go ahead and leave me. I'm just evil to the core. It's never going to get better. Go ahead. It's not you, it's me. They're never going to do that. They're going to literally try to destroy you. That's what they're going to do. I wish I could tell you differently. I wish I could tell you that they're good narcissists and bad narcissists, like in the Wizard of Oz, but no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. What you see is what you see. You just have to decide that you're not going to rewrite it. And it doesn't matter, JT, you're correct. It doesn't matter what you've done for them. It doesn't. They'll never, again, that you guys have to just go on Google, type in NPD DSM-5. It's going to give you the 9 criteria, the things that if a psychiatrist was sitting down in front of someone, they go check, 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 check. Oh, that's 5. You're a narcissist. You are definitely, you're a narcissist, or you're very close to being a narcissist. Get that, because I tell people this often. You have to decide that you're going through this, just like I had to decide that I was going through it. I can't make that decision for you. I can't turn around and say leave your partner. That's not for me to do. That's not for me to say. But if you're in this dynamic and you're experiencing this every freaking day and you're seeing the pattern every freaking day, well, you've got to make that choice. And I can't make it for you. So I tell people, go get the DSM-5. Right, today's the day. Let me send you the freaking to see if you're in a narcissist, if you're in a trauma bond. Let me send that to you. Let me send you a free audiobook. Let me send you something so that you can make a decision that's going to work for you, your well-being, your peace, and your emotional health. I'm never here to tell people to mess up their relationships. I'm not. I can only go by the fact of the BS that I went through with these 3, especially with the last one, okay, that actually turned into the malignant vampire at the end, especially after going through that. All I can do is when I get on these lives, I can say, okay, yeah, we're all going through the same thing. So, yeah, there's a good chance that you've got a narcissist too. But I can't say that for sure. You're living through this. So that's why I put up these courses so that you can decide. You can take a course, just have the knowledge, and not really be in a narcissistic relationship. It happens. I study stuff all the time that I'm big into, the whole UFO thing and everything else, sea theories. I'm big into that. But, just because I'm big in it doesn't mean that I can say for, without a doubt, yeah, there's UAPs up there. I can't. It's the same thing with your relationship. I can't tell you what you're going through. You're experiencing it. You are literally experiencing this day after day. So it's literally up to you to say, you know what, today is the day. I'm not dealing with this issue anymore. So yeah, you can take a course and it doesn't have to, turn out to be nothing. You're just that much smarter about a subject, But if you are dealing with a narcissist, better to know and know your way out than not to. I just had to put that out there. I know I'm kind of crazy. I am kind of crazy. But this is, imagine the craziness that you go through while you're in these narcissistic dynamics. Imagine that, Well, if you guys have any questions, please. And JT says, I didn't even know what narcissism was until after the relationship was over. I kind of got lucky. I found out because I was working on a project. Again, I'm always goal oriented. So I was working on a project that I think my subconscious was talking to me with. Fractured Bonds, Tales of Betrayal. I was trying to make a docu-series. And that just led me into the rabbit hole of narcissism. And then I started, and I tell the story often with the last one, I really thinking that I'm intelligent and I can't, what's that one that does medicine? They won't give me access to that. But anyway, it's not going to help anyway. CRISPR. So yeah, I spent a long time because I thought I was going to find a way to fix them. I did. And I admit that. I did. I spent an insane amount of time. But during that time, I was learning, trying to fix, learning, trying to fix. And then one day, I think I got the last time I put in a prompt, and it said, I think it was it OpenAI or was it Gemini? But something came back with the answer of the chances of them ever becoming a normal human, a normal functioning, non-disordered person is slim to none. And I remember they were sitting in the room with me. The computer was in front of me. I pushed back and I looked over and I was like, you know what? Today is the day. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the narcissist man, yeah, we all thought that we could fix them. And you're right. And this is part of the journey. Again, notice how we're all saying the same thing. We're all going through the same processes. We're all experiencing the same thing. And yet and still there's so many of us that just won't let go. That's the scary part. There's so many of us that just won't let go. That won't just say, you know what, I'm not. I'm, you can't save them, JT. You can't save them. They have literally. This is science. I always tend to back this stuff up with science. When a narcissist goes through that traumatic young period in their life, and they make that decision that somebody's got to pay for this, literally making the choice to become a narcissist, there are certain parts of their physiology that automatically start changing, especially in their brain. Look it up. I'm not lying. So it's like one of those things. There's no going back. You know, they're not after 15, 20, 30 years. You think your brain is going to once again restructure itself? No. Those parts that make us human, much less empaths. Now, it's the same thing happens to empaths. You know, that center that takes care of empathy actually gets bigger. That's why we're always trying to be there for people because we feel. You know, once you heal from narcissism and get that, you get the super empath badge. Sometimes you can walk into a room and you can feel what people are feeling. They don't have to say a word to you. And this is real talk. This is a real thing. But you got to heal. You can't be halfway broken and get all the good stuff. It doesn't happen that way. You know, it never happens that way. Yes, they bleed on people that didn't cut them. Yes. You know, so like I said, send me a DM. Today has been a long day. I had a doctor's appointment. I'm tired. It's hot. It's really hot. Oh my God. I went outside and that heat just slapped me across my head. I was like, what the heck? What, 4 days ago we still had on jackets? Not today. Not today. You know. But yeah, I mean, guys, send me a DM. You don't even have to follow me. Just send me a DM saying today is the day. I'll figure out a couple of resources. I'll say Miss Lady says it's hot. I can imagine it's hot at sea. South Click, I know it's hot out there. I'm on the East Coast, Jersey rather. So yeah, this was a shock for me. Definitely was a shock. Yeah, send me a DM. Just say, you know, today is the day. I'll send you resources. I'll put this up one more time. If you guys are serious about healing, you can actually go through my stuff. I've got quite a few courses. Again, I tend to build courses based on what wasn't out there for me that I literally struggled with. You know, no contact, controlled access, I struggled with for months. You know, I had to research, you know, how to deal with this. Could I tell people there's certain instances where you can't go no contact? You got a business with this person, you playing at the workplace and you work with this person and you're not giving up your job. You know, you got property with them, you got kids with them. You can't go completely no contact. So you have to figure out a way of how to deal with it. Jersey is my hometown. Oh, that's where you headed? That's what's up. Actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a New Yorker, you know, Queens. So I'm in Jersey by the way of New York, you know. But I'm in South Jersey, so I can go back and forth a lot. But I ain't going back to live there. It's expensive. New York, you got to be Elon Musk to live comfortably in New York. You do. You really, really do. You know, or at least Seinfeld money. Um, but yeah, it's expensive as hell. But yeah, guys, send me a message. I'm always trying to be of assistance. If I feel better, I will go live tomorrow at 2. I can't promise it because I am a little worn down from the day. But I'll definitely get on at 8. Um, and I want you guys to remember who the hell you are. I think the narcissist works so hard on making you forget who the hell you are. Remember who the hell you are. Like I said, sometimes just go back the day before you met them. Sometimes that's enough. That was enough for me to anchor myself. I just went back to the day before I met him. Life was pretty good. I didn't have fire drills. I didn't have stress. I didn't have chaos. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna follow you as soon as I get off, Miss Lady. And I'm very pleased to meet you as well. I appreciate you. I want you guys to have a good night. Let me put this up one more time. Um, I want you guys to have a good night. I want you guys, if you're still in the dynamic, I want you to think about what we talked about today. Um, I really do. Because like I said, that super empath, I feel there's somebody in this room that's still in what they call the fog. You know, we're all here to help you get out of it. Trust me, we're all here. With that being said, I want you to have an amazing night. I want you to stay powerful. I want you to keep healing. DM me at any point. And with that being said, the reason why I do this, love you guys. Have a great night, everyone. What? What? Come on. Yep, her new thing is she will send these this needs to be taken care of now messages at 2 and 8 p.m., which I'm scheduled to go live, and it's all over the internet, and I just, I wait until I do whatever it is that I'm doing and then I respond back. I mean, I don't feed into that sense of urgency right now. But you're very crazy tonight. What's up?
Classic Silver Age lore. In 1962, Stan Lee had a problem. Sign me 101 for $200. Oh my goodness. And thank you guys so much for joining. We're going to talk about a lot today. And as I had time today, I was actually a little, intimate reinforcement. Your nervous system, logically, you know something's wrong, but your nervous system is like, this is no different than. Logically, you know something's wrong, but your nervous system is like, this is no different than anything else that we went through at an earlier age. And in fact, we might be able to fix this person due to what we experienced at an early age. So that's when we start literally pick up a pen. And when they rage out, we make music. When they isolate us, we make music. When they triangulate us, they make excuses. We make excuses. When we're trying to reach a goal, get a win, deep down inside, we know that they're sabotaging us. Or
no clue what you want from me, Kat. I really don't. I really don't know what you want.